The White House wrapping up a briefing with shocking new information on the media's so-called Maryland dad. The alleged MS-13 gang member, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Caroline Levitt was joined by the mother of Rachel Morin. Her daughter was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant. Here's Caroline.
The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country.
That comes as Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen went to El Salvador in order to fetch his Salvadorian constituent that he claims was, quote, illegally abducted.
This is about due process. This is about rule of law. What bullies do is they begin by picking on the most vulnerable.
I just landed at the airport in San Salvador a little while ago. I'm now en route into the city. The goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I won't stop trying, and I can assure the president, the vice president, that I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
And at the briefing, Rachel Morin's mother ripped her senator's trip.
Of a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this.
All right, Harold, I'll start with you. What we found out is the Maryland father was not working at Home Depot, as was represented here yesterday. He was one of the illegals standing outside waiting to be picked up, as they often do, to get a job for cash under the table. In addition, we also have the police report indicating the reasons why he was identified as MS-13. We also have 2 court orders saying that Abrego Garcia was an MS-13 gang member and needed to be deported. And in addition to that, the father of the year, Abrego Garcia, that a United States senator who never called Rachel Morin's mother, who was a constituent of his, is going to see El Salvador. The man he's going to see, his common law wife, we don't even know if they were really married, filed 2, not once, but 2 orders of protection against him for assaulting her, for punching her, scratching her, ripping off her shirt, and beating her. So we've got domestic violence, MS-13, court orders, and not only that, he didn't even come into this country through a port of entry. He's one of the gotaways. He was too dangerous. He knew he wouldn't have been let in. So why is the senator going there, Harold?
Well, he has every right to go. First, it's good to be with you. He has every right as a U.S. senator to go wherever he wants. And
Nobody's questioning that.
And Ms. Morin I was moved by her words, Judge, I think we all were, and by reminding us of that terrible, awful, tragic story that her daughter had to endure and what the pain that it has caused her and her family. I separate the two for really a single reason. I think this situation with the Garcia guy, it appears that the court has said that they want the lawyers for Mr. Garcia and the lawyers for the government to be deposed, and for evidence to be presented to the court that Mr. Garcia fits the description that some of what you just described there, Judge, in terms of his status in the country, his MS-13 status, whatever that may be. And if these things are all true, then he should certainly be deported and maybe even worse things done. But it appears that's where the gulf is here. But it is, I'm so moved by Ms. Morin's story, it's hard to even talk about Senator Van Hollen, who has the right to be there, and Ms. Morin, who I was pleased to hear and happy to hear her share her story, as hard as it may have been for her to share it. I do hope that the judge's extortions to both the defense, the government, and the plaintiffs. She said that everybody to cancel their vacation and to cancel other time and to be back before the court with this evidence, because I think the country deserves to hear this, and certainly this family deserves to know if this guy was indeed a member of MS-13.
All right, Jesse, I'm gonna spin right off of what Harold just said. Harold is talking about Judge Boasberg, I assume.
No, I'm talking about the judge in the case with the Mr. Garcia. The Boasberg case, he spoke a little differently, but
right.
Yes, we're kind of conflating two things here.
Okay.
But I'm talking about, I can't think of her last name. Zinni. I'm talking about Judge Zinni. Yes.
So, Jesse, the fact that an immigration court and an immigration appeals court has already made the decision that Abrego Garcia should be deported indicates to me, as a former judge and a prosecutor, that he has already been given due process. And in fact, this further information is even more reason why he should stay in El Salvador, as if we could go there and bring him back here to deport him yet again.
Well, he's getting a great hearing because his law firm represents notorious gang members. His law firm represents Aaron Hernandez, Bloods, represented Bobby Shmurda, GS9 out of Brooklyn, represents a trafficking syndicate that does deals with the cartels. So somehow this Maryland dad gets the best gang-affiliated law firm in the country to do this guy's case. He illegally immigrates into the country under Barack Obama, gets pulled over 5 times in Maryland, but never gets deported because they're a sanctuary state, and blows off every hearing. Then he gets an American woman pregnant, doesn't marry her, none of my business. He gets picked up in a gang sweep. It was a murder investigation. They bring him in. He had $1,000 cash. He had a Bulls hat with the logo of the Horns, MS-13. He had a sweatshirt on, hear no evil, see no evil, MS-13. They ask him about human trafficking. All of a sudden, he goes, oh, I'm really afraid to go back to El Salvador. They might kill me. The judge doesn't let him out on bond because he's a flight risk and he's a danger to the community. He appeals. Another judge says no. Doesn't uphold the asylum claim. Again, affirms he's designated MS-13. The only reason he's not deported back to El Salvador then is because his great lawyers say he's going to be killed by a rival gang. But they let him out. But he can be deported at any time. But guess who doesn't do it? Joe Biden. Then what does he do? He allegedly beats his wife. Not once, but twice. Closed fist. Still not deported. Trump becomes president. He designates MS-13 a terrorist organization. That means it vacates the hold on the deportation to El Salvador. He can be deported to El Salvador. They put him on a plane and he's there. The lawyers want to go back, reopen the case with the immigration judge. It's a clerical issue. It reopens. He gets deported back to El Salvador. Case closed. The fact that this guy wanted to put Trump in prison, but get this guy out of prison, an MS-13 terrorist who's accused of hitting his wife, is crazy.
You know, Dana, the Rachel Morin's mother, and I think we really have to talk about that, is one of many, many mothers in this country who have lost daughters in a horrific way, some of them as young as 11, to illegals who were never vetted by the Biden administration. And yet the left and a United States senator is on the wrong side of the issue. Instead of fighting for American citizens in a 90-10 issue at this point, he's fighting to make sure that an illegal dirtbag gang member who's an abuser is okay. What is wrong with the Democrats?
So you'd like to believe that the senator and his team didn't think this through, right? You'd like to believe that this was a lapse in judgment, but they did think it through. They think this is the right thing to do. I feel like if this was an episode of Veep, you might believe it more, but unfortunately it is the reality. That they were, he was part of the big cover-up of Biden's mental capacities. He was somebody who, yes, he did talk about Rachel Morin. He did. He has done statements, but he never called her.
Right.
And this is obviously a woman who wants to talk about what happened to her daughter and to make sure justice is done so that it never happens to another daughter. That is her main mission. And it is remarkable how many women who have lost their daughters or their sons, even if it's on fentanyl or something that is gang related as well, right? The cartel is bringing the drugs into the country. How many of the mothers are able to be so poised? Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize, we were taking it live, but Greg said to me that the other cable channels didn't take it.
No surprise.
And like, this is an opportunity, as a unique opportunity in the briefing room, and you might not want to hear it. And it is really hard to listen to. And your heart breaks for her. And I can understand that. I'm sure they're back in the senators often saying, but the rule of law. And there is a question on the law here. That's obviously it's being dealt with in the courts. The Justice Department fighting as hard as they can, releasing new information. I think you made a good point about the foreign terrorist organization, which vacated the previous. All of that can get teased out. What can't be forgotten is that President Trump ran on this issue. It was the #1 issue with the American people, along with the highest prices that they have paid for goods in their lives. And the president and what Caroline Leavitt did today is say, we're not going to forget. And in fact, we're going to put this right in your face so that you can't forget. And even if the other cables didn't take it, doesn't matter. This story is front and center, and it will be. This guy is now going to be like the poster child for, you want to have this fight? We'll have it. It kind of reminds me in a little bit of a way of talking about going after terrorism. You're either with us or against us. And the media for a long time was like, well, we don't really know what to do about that. But then they became, if you guys remember, they fought pretty vigorously in the press against tactics to make sure that terrorists couldn't hurt us.
You know, Greg, aside from the legal, I mean, you've got the immigration courts that said you're gone. And you've got foreign terrorist organization under the Alien Enemies Act. You've got two separate. I don't know, the one vacates the other. They're both legitimate reasons to get this guy out of here. What is going on?
It's amazing. You look at the mother, and then you can hear Van Hollen's words about who the most vulnerable is. He's talking about the gangbanger. The effing Democrats, you can offer them two sides, and they can't help but pick the wrong one. You know, for years, we've dealt with unfettered illegal immigration with consequences felt in our cities and in our morgues. And now we stop it. And who do they side with? An illegal with a history of violence who beats women. Good job, Dems. You never fail us. Whether it's Antifa, BLM, Hamas, is there any dirtbag that you won't embrace for political reasons? And how many traps do the Democrats and the media lead people into? It always ends the same way. The border agent whipped the migrant. Oh my God, I can't believe. Oh, that didn't happen. Oh, I'm sorry. Musk is a Nazi. I'm going to go out and key cars. Oh, you're being filmed. Now you're going to jail for 20 years. Why did you listen to them? Trans kids are real. Oh, now you find out it's just some kind of bizarre experimentation on children. And oh, I didn't know that. Hey, there's white supremacy in the military. No, just CRT and DEI. Trump is Hitler. No, he's not, but he gets shot. The P-tape is real. The laptop is fake. Joe Biden is as sharp as a tack. Do you notice this? How long are you going to put up with this crap where they lead you down a path for a political reason and then you find out you're in quicksand? What is more repulsive to me is how the media still thinks it can decide what your priorities are, what people in the world you should care about. They plant this idea of this one man in your head and say, why don't you care about them? This is after they ignored illegals coming in, crime in every city, suffering of young women pushed in front of subway trains, raped and murdered. You want to George Floyd this guy? Go for it. Go for it, because you know how that turned out, right? You saw the autopsy. You didn't care about that. All this is scoring symbolic virtue points. The Democrats pick and choose their victims based on how it helps them politically and how it can be exploited for public sentiment. But every person at home, you know the concentric circles of caring. You, your family, your friends, your neighbors, your community. A creep from El Salvador, he can't jump that line. This is a border that he can't cross. And every time the libs try to cross that border into your house, you have to fight back. I'm so happy that we got this truth out there and shut all these people up.
You are so right.
Thank you.
It's not about due process. It's about them being incapable of empathizing for American citizens.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.